Vanakkam. Hi, hello. So, welcome to the fourth topic of Heritage of Tamils. Here we'll talk about the classical text of Tamil. I'm going to make two versions of this particular topic, one short version and one long version, because in an exam point of view, the short version will help you to know simply what is what. But since this is aimed at non-Tamil people, so I want to give a slightly detailed account of these texts so that you get a good idea of what is what. So there will be a long version, this video, which you watch to gain knowledge about these texts. And there will be a short version, which will be posted separately, which you can use for your exam preparation. What is a classical literature? So as far as Tamil is concerned, any literature available before the 6th century, 600 CE common era. So at least some 1400 years before now. Those are called as classical text of Tamil. So in that definition, we have about 41 texts, 41 books, works or compositions, which we call as the classical text Chevvilakkiyam of Tamil. So those 41 texts are Tolkapiyam, a grammar book, the oldest extant book I already mentioned. Ettu Togai, there are 8 anthologies. Pattu Pattu, 10 idylls, long songs. This Ettu Togai and Pattu Pattu is what we call Sangam literature, Sanga Ilakkiyam. This is from the third Sangam. I'll discuss that. And then after that, we have the Padinan Kizhkanakku Noolgal. So after the Sangam period, we have a period where people compose these lesser texts. And then two epics are there, Silappadigaram and Manimekalai, which belong to about 1st to 3rd or 5th century CE. And another anthology, which is not completely retrieved, called Muttollairam. And another grammar, which is very much similar to Tolkapiyam, but very focusing on one part of what Tolkapiyam says, called Ireyanar Kalaviyal. So these are called as the classical text Sevvilakkiyam of Tamil. There are 41 texts. There is one Tolkapiyam and 8 anthologies, 10 idylls, 18 lesser texts, 2 epics, and one Muttollairam and one Ireyanar Kalaviyal. So if you count, there are 41 texts. And as I already mentioned in the last video, there is a classical Central Institute for Classical Tamil, CICT. So according to them, these are the 41 texts they will be focusing on. So their job is to focus, do research, publications, developments on classical Tamil. So according to them, this is classical Tamil. So we'll quickly look at them one by one in a bit more detail. So I don't want to give you a lot of detail that you are overwhelmed. On the other hand, I don't want you to just leave you with the names so you don't know nothing about them. So I want to give you a glimpse about each of them. So that's going to be a glimpse. I'm going to simply mention them. If you want more detail, you have to go and study about those literatures. English translations are available. So again, whatever resource is available in the internet, I'll give you a link in the description. So you can check out the descriptions. And I really encourage you to go and check about these texts. They're all beautiful texts containing a lot of interesting information. So let's start with Tolkapiyam. I already told you this is the oldest extant textbook literature in Tamil, which is basically a grammar text. So you can say, we regard Tolkapiyar as something like father of Tamil. Of course, traditionally Agathiyar is called as father of Tamil, but we don't know nothing about Agathiyam. So Tolkapiyam is the only thing available to us, and we almost we accredit everything to the roots of Tolkapiyam. So Tolkapiyam is regarded as the root of Tamil language. Whatever present Tamil we have, everything stems from Tolkapiyam, sort of, right? Not directly, may not be directly. Many of them have direct influence of Tolkapiyam. Many of them have indirect influence of Tolkapiyam. And many of the literature also are very much influenced by Tirukural, another work which will come back later. So the Tolkapiyam is a grammar treatise very highly regarded among Tamil literature. Tolkapiyam is basically divided into 3 books. So we call them as Adhigaram, Eluthadhigaram, Solladhigaram, and Porul Adhigaram. Eluthadhigaram deals with phonology. Eluthu means letter. When I say letter, we mean both the sound and the written form. So that is phonology of Tamil. Solladhigaram basically deals with morphology of Tamil, but it also deals with syntax, semantics, conjoining rules, which are called Punarchi in Tamil. And Poruladhigaram, I already mentioned in the last video, which is a unique aspect for Tamil. Context and content grammar. Here in Poruladhigaram of Tolkapiyam, we also deal with aesthetics like simile, omai, and prosody, versification rules, yapilakkanam. So these are the 5 grammars of Tamil. Eluthu, Sol, Porul, Yapu, Ani. Eluthu, phonology, Sol, morphology, syntax and all. Porul, context, content grammar. And then Yapu is a prosody, versification rules. And Ani is aesthetics, which is omai, simile, like that, right? Metaphors, all those things. So there are 3 books in Tolkappiyam, and each book has 9 chapters. The chapters are called EL. So each book is equally divided into 9 chapters, and about 1600 aphorisms we call Nurpa in Tamil, or Sutram in Tamil. So like a formula. So how do you use this grammar? So Sutram or Nurpa, we say aphorisms in English. So there are about 1600 Nurpa in Tolkappiyam, somewhat distributed among these 3 books in 9 chapters. So I'm quickly giving you a glimpse of the 9 chapters in each of these 3 books. Again, as I said, I'm giving a glimpse. I'm not going to explain this in detail much. But again, Tolkappiyam is a very old and very foundational grammar in Tamil. So if you want to read Tolkappiyam, you have to first of all gain some basic understanding of Tamil, functional knowledge of Tamil, and read other somewhat later texts like Nannul and all I mentioned in the previous video. So you should expose yourself to those grammar rules which will be much simpler than Tolkappiyam to understand, grasp, and then come to Tolkappiyam. So basically, like you should do a BA, MA in Tamil before you read Tolkappiyam. So in book 1, Eluthadhigaram, phonology, the 9 chapters are Nool Marabu, which deals with the definition of letters, the Tamil letters. What are the Tamil letters? The vowels, consonants, or what are their natures and all those things, and how they will be pronounced and all those things, right? Mori Marabu deals with dependent letters. There are 3 dependent letters in Tamil. The shortened U, we call Kutriya Lugaram, shortened E, Kutriya Ligaram, and Aida Eluthu, Ag, it's an aspirate in Tamil. And position of letters. See, Tamil has a well-defined rule for which letter can be in the initial position, which can be in the medial position, which can be in the final position. So not all letters can come in all positions in Tamil. So those are all defined in the second chapter called Mori Marabu. Third chapter, Pirappiyal. Pirappu basically means origin or birth. So Pirappiyal deals with the origin of the phonemes, the sound letters sounds of Tamil. So we say a, I, ka, nya, cha, nya. How those are originating from your speech organs, from your throat, vocal cord, how you are articulating them, basic parts of articulation, tongue, palate, teeth, and the lips. So what are their positions, how they are functioning to articulate a particular letter. So Tolkappiyam gives a very detailed account for each letter, which is very interesting actually, 2500 years before. So that is Pirappiyal. Punariyal, the conjoining of letters in a general way, and the Togai Marabu, conjoining of case markers in Tamil. We already mentioned Oma Urubu, Vetrumai Urubu. So Avanukku, Avanal, like that. So what are the rules for that? So when I say Avanal, it simply joins. When I say Avanku, I don't say Avanku, Avanukku, the uk comes, 0 morph comes. So what is the rule for that? So the case markers. Urubial again talks about explicitly about this 0 morphs, which are called Sariyai in Tamil. And Uyir Mayangiyal, conjoining of words ending in vowels. Uyir means vowels, Uyir Eluthu. So Uyir Mayangiyal, so you have a word which is ending in vowel, and another word comes to join with that. That word may be starting with a vowel or a consonant sound. So how the punarchi, the conjoining happens. Similarly, Pulli Mayangiyal. Pulli refers to consonants. Meyeluthu, we say. So the conjoining of words ending in consonants. Kutriyalugara Punariyal. So Kutriyalugaram is one of the dependent letters in Tamil. So words ending in Kutriyalugaram, there are so many words. So Tolkappiyam dedicates an entire chapter for that. So how those words are conjoined. So basically about letters, but also about some words and conjoining rules and all those things. That is what is Eluthadhigaram, the 9 chapters of this. Now Tolkappiyam, once again I remind you, is a very old grammar and a very foundational root level grammar for Tamil. So just this slide and you are simply hearing whatever I read out doesn't make you an expert in that. So if you understand nothing about it, don't bother. Or you are welcome to play that particular part again and again. So gain some idea or try to read the original itself. So just a glimpse, this is what is what. The second book, which is called Soladhigaram, about morphology, syntax, semantics and all those things. Basically about words and how these words form sentences and all those things. So again the 9 chapters, Kilavi Akkam. Kilavi means words, Kilavi Akkam. So morphology and syntax. Vetrumai Iyal. Vetrumai is the case system in Tamil. There are 8 cases in Tamil. So that talks about that case system. Vetrumai Mayangiyal. So what happens is one case form may be used in the context of another case. So that is called Vetrumai Mayakkam. So deviations in the cases and case markers, that is called Vetrumai Mayangiyal. Vili Marabu. This is the 8th case, occative case. You are calling someone. So Murugan. When you are calling Murugan, you will say Muruga. So how that Murugan becomes Muruga. That is Vili Marabu. That is discussed in this chapter. And then when you say words, how do you classify words? So basically we say nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, particles. So that they're all dealt with in the next chapters. So Payer Iyal. Payer is noun. So Peyariyal, Peyarchol, chapters on noun. Vinay Iyal, Vinay Chol is verb. So that chapter deals with verbs. Idai Iyal, Idai Chol are particles, grammatical particles. So that chapter deals with them. And Uri Chol, those are adjectives and adverbs. So Uri Chol that comes with nouns are called Peyar Uri Chol, they are adjectives. Uri Chol that comes with verbs are called adverbs. So Uri Iyal, that chapters deals with the Uri Chol. And HVL, HM means what is remaining. So Tolkappiyar, whatever he is not dealt in those chapters, he is not able to put in one of these above chapters. He has put all those things in this last chapter. So that is a miscellaneous chapter. So whatever rule he wanted to state but is not fitting in the flow of the previous chapters, he collected all of the rules and put it there in the HVL. HM is remaining. So whatever is remaining to be said, that is put here. So it's called HVL, basically miscellaneous chapter. So there he talks about types of words, infinitives, HM, Vinay HM, Payar HM, like that, and other aspects of the Tamil words. So that is the book 2, Sol Adhigaram of Tolkappiyam. Third book, a very unique book for Tamil grammar, which is Porul Adhigaram, context and content. So see, we use words, we use letters to develop words and sentences, but basically we use them to compose poems. So what should be the content of those poems? What you should say, how you should say them, what is the themes you should use, what are the traditions in them, what are the beautifications you can do, what are the versification rules. So all these are dealt in this third chapter, the last book of Tolkappiyam, called Porul Adhigaram, Porul Ilakkanam in Tamil. This Porul Ilakkanam is basically divided into two major classifications, Agapporul, Purapporul. Agam means inner. So Agapporul deals with all the ideas, concepts that is inside of a person. So that is basically emotions, basically stemming from love. So love between, that main concept is love between a man and a woman. So they are meeting, they are falling in love with each other, they are separating. So all those emotions stemming from that is dealt in Agapporul. So Agam means inner, and all the emotions stemming from that is Agapporul. And Puram is outer. So you are dealing with society. So your valor, your generosity, so those things, they are all, these of course they are a bit patriarchal. I cannot deny that. So these focus mainly on a male point of view. So you are a king, you are a chieftain, you are a general. So what are the battle you do? How you go to a battle? What are the stages of a battle? The valor displayed by people, and the donations you are giving, the patronization you are giving to poets. So Veeram Kodai. You say valor is Veeram, the generosity is Kodai. Right? Donations you are giving, that's called Kodai. So that is majorly dealt with in Purathinai. And didactic works, philosophical musings, they are also coming under this Purapporul. So Puram is external, you are dealing with society. Agam is internal, you are dealing with yourself, your emotions, and your loved ones, close within family. That is Agam Puram. And within Agam, once again, between the love of a male and a female, there is two stages. So Kalaviyal and Karpiyal, before marriage and after marriage. Clandestine love. So people in old tradition, so when they fall in love, they start meeting each other. So they don't expose their friendship to others. So that is clandestine. Kalaviyal. Kalavu is, stealthy. Karpiyal, that is marriage. So married life, married love, that is called Karpiyal. So that is part of Agathinai. Poruliyal is also Agathinai. So how the basic aspects, general rules of these Agampuram. Content, how to interpret a verse, all those things. Context, how to identify the context of a verse. Right? So what is it saying? So Agampuram, okay, and there are Thinai. So there are sub-classifications called Thinai, and there are sub-classifications to that Thinai called Turai. So what is the context of a verse? And if you look at Sangam literature, which is very much based on Tolkappiyam, almost all songs will be like monologues. So one person is saying something, it's a monologue. In what context, in what situation they are saying that? That is called Turai. And in what scenario that is set, that is called Thinai. Thinai are basically based on landscapes, right? So we'll come back to that a bit later. We'll discuss that in detail. So that is, all these things are laid out in this Poruliyal. And then Meipatiyal, another very unique thing, right? Tolkappiyar details, that is about expression. Meipadu is how emotions manifest in your body. See, in your physical body, your emotions manifest. If someone is angry, you can see that in their face. In Tamil, we say, மூக்குக்கு மேல கோவம் வருது, மூக்கு செவந்து போச்சு. You say he is angry above his nose. Nose becomes red out of anger. In English they say someone turned purple, something like that, right? You are terrified, you turn pale. When you are angry or depressed, you turn blue, something like that. Like that, no. So changes in your body language, nuances in your tics like things in bodies. So that will show your emotion, what emotion you are feeling. Your eyes will show you whether you are happy, sad, depressed. Those are shown in your eyes, your other organs. So that is called meipadu. Mei is body. Meipadudal. Expressions of emotions through one's body. And of course, these Sangam literature, these songs are also enacted like a stage play. So when a person is enacting a song, how they should express, what should they show to capture a particular emotion. So these are all developed very much in detail in Tamil as well as in Sanskrit also. In Sanskrit, these are called rasam. Nava rasam, we say there are 9 rasa, right? Nava rasam, we say Shringaram, Kamam, Krodam, right? Bhayanakam, like that. In Tamil, the same thing. So the same 9 is there in Tamil as 8. So Tolkappiyar lists 8 emotions. So the difference with the Sanskrit rasa is that the 9th rasa in Sanskrit is Shanti, that peacefulness. So Tolkappiyar considers Shantam as the absence of the remaining 8 emotions. So he is not discussing that in detail. He is not explicitly mentioning that, but it is also there. It's implied. So the same Navarasa in Sanskrit is as 8 emotions, Meipadu in Tamil, right? So the 8 emotions, like you are happy, sad, disgusted, afraid, terrified, all those things, angry. So that is called Meipadu, emotions. Tolkappiyar details how these emotions will come, what is the root cause of these emotions, like that. So he discusses them in detail in Meipatiyal. And Omai is simile. That simile, Tolkappiyar discusses simile in detail, but later on the grammarians developed this to Ani Ilakkanam, aesthetics, ornamentation in poetry. So we have similes, we have metaphors, we have a lot of other Ani. We call them as Ani. Ani means an ornamentation for poetry. So a lot of techniques and tools poet use to make a poetry. So if you are saying something in plain words, that is not a poetry. There should be some technique used, and that is what is captured in this Omayal, ornamentation in poetry. And the Cheyuliyal, prosody. So meters, versifications. There we talk about Asiriyapa, Venpa, Kalipa, Vanjipa. So the types of songs, verses in Tamil, what are their structures, forms, rules for them, what rhythm they should produce. Each form, each verses have their own osai, the rhythm they are supposed to produce. So all these are discussed in detail in Cheyuliyal. And finally, Marabiyal, where Tolkappiyar talks about traditions and trends. Tamil traditions, trends. For example, when we say the sound of an elephant, we don't say elephant shouts. We say elephant trumpets in English. In Tamil, we say Yanai piliriyadu, Mayil agaviyadu. So when you say a peacock is making a sound, we should say agaval. When an elephant is making a sound, we should say piliral. So how do you call a cub of a tiger, a calf of a cow? So we cannot use the same word for all of them. So there are traditions, there are things to be followed. So all those things are discussed in this last book called Marabiyal. So these are the 9 chapters of the 3rd book, and these are the 27 chapters of Tolkappiyam, which is the oldest extant literature in Tamil, and almost the fountain of all Tamil literature and grammar. And let's see some sample, just sampling. What is Tolkappiyam? So what is there in Tolkappiyam? I'll give you a few samples, 2 verses, what we call Nurpa or Sutram, aphorisms from Tolkappiyam. So the first one, very first book, Eluthadigaram, very first chapter, Nool Marabu. So the very first verse, Sutram, goes like this: Eluthu enapaduva, agaram mudal, nagara iruvai, muppagudhu enba. Muppagudhu is 30. Saarndu varal marabin, moonru alangadaye. So letters means Tamil letters. It's implied. Tolkappiyam is Tamil grammar, so you don't have to explicitly say Tamil letters. Eluthu, letter means Tamil letter. So Tamil letters are 30 in number. Tolkappiyar says 30 enba, which are from A to N. Na, I, U, E, I, O, Au, Kana, Chana, Tana, Tana, Pama, Yara, Lava, Na. So 18 consonants, 12 vowels, 30 in number. And later on, he explicitly mentions them. What are the vowels, what are the consonants, all those things. And so there are 3 more dependent letters, 3 more of different natures. So that is the first, so which defines, lays out the letters. There are a lot of things, this one aphorism, I can give you a lot of information. There are a lot of encoded messages in this verse, but I don't want to expand this video. So maybe if time permits, later on we'll discuss Tolkappiyam in detail. So that is one example, one sampling, just a taste of Tolkappiyam. Another verse, this is from the 2nd Solladigaram, 1st chapter, Vinayiyal, where Vinayal is not the 1st chapter. Later it comes around the 6th or something like that. But it talks about verbs. So the very first verse of that chapter, he defines what is a verb. So the chapter about verb, it starts by defining what is a verb. So if you ask me, or if I ask you what is a verb, we may not be able to describe a verb nicely, precisely, but Tolkappiyar does. See, he gives a very nice, precise definition for a verb. So he says, Vinai எனப்படுவது வேற்றுமை கொள்ளாது நினையும் காலை காலமுடு தோன்றும். So Vinai, a verb, it is that which doesn't take a case. Only nouns take cases. So verbs don't take cases, right? There is no first case, second case for a verb. But verbs will take time. There will be tense in the verb. So if you think about it, there will be a tense in the verb. So a verb is those word which doesn't take a case. But of course, you say particles, adjective, adverbs, they don't take a case. So verb is also the one which shows you a tense. There is a remark about the time when it happened, something happened when it happened. So tense is there. So verb doesn't take cases, but indicates tense. That is a verb. Those words are verbs. So it defines verb in a very precise way. Again, if I elaborate this, I can show a lot of nuances in this aphorism. But again, I don't want to expand this video. So let's stop here. Just a sample, a taste of Tolkappiyam. 2500 years old wording, but not very difficult. Vinai எனப்படுவது வேற்றுமை கொள்ளாது. Doesn't take வேற்றுமை. நினையும் காலை காலமுடு தோன்றும். Very simple wordings, and ordinary Tamil people can understand these individual words. So that's a very beautiful thing. And then we come to the Sangam literature, the corpus of Tamil, which is supposed to belong to the third Sangam. So I already mentioned there were 3 assemblies, scholarly assemblies patronized by the Pandyan kings. They are called Tamil Sangam. So there are 3 Tamil Sangam, Talai, Idai, Kadai Sangam. And due to ocean engulfing, right, tsunami like accidents, we have lost almost all text from the previous 2 Sangams. Tolkappiyam is said to be belonging to the second Sangam, which is also used in the third Sangam. So whatever we now have as a Sangam literature is coming from the third Sangam. These are again dated variously between approximately 300 or 500 BCE to some 300 CE, Common Era. Within that period, they are all dated. And there are 18 texts. So they are classified as 8 anthologies, collection of songs, and 10 idylls, 10 very long songs, 10 idylls, 10 பாட்டு. So we'll look at them quickly. 8 தொகை. So நற்றிணை. And again, these 8 தொகை, some of them are belonging to the Agam literature, some of them are belonging to the Puram literature. So Agam literature basically deals with love between a man and a woman. And Puram deals with kings, chieftains, and their interaction with society, their valor, war, their magnanimity or philosophical musings, all those things. So Natrinai, Kurundogai, Ainguru Nuru, Kalitogai, Agananuru, these are all Agam songs. Paditrupatru and Puranuru are Puram songs. Paribadal is a mixer. So it contains both Agam songs and Puram songs. And so these are all anthologies, collection of songs. You can see Natrinai contains 400 songs more or less. Kurundagai also contains 400 songs. Agananuru, the name itself, Nanuru means 400. So Ainguru Nuru, 500 short songs. So I have given what is the length of the songs, how many authors composed them, and all those things, details, and I have given some remarks for them. So you can pause and read this slide. I'm not going to read you the slide, but these are the 8 தொகை songs, right? Natrinai, Kurundogai, Aingurnuru, Paditrupatru, Paribadal, Kalitogai, Agananuru, Purananuru, and we put them in this particular order because there is a Venpa verse which enumerates these books in this particular order, right? And these are collections. So some of these, like Natrinai, Kurundogai, Purananuru, from the very songs themselves, we can see that they are composed by various poets from various time periods, though these poets may be separated by even hundreds of years. And there are compositions, anthologies, which are done in a single period, like Ainguru Noru. So that is 500 poems, each 100 poems in one particular Tinai written, composed by one poet. So there are only 5 poets. So one particular king, he commissioned this work. He saw all these Pandyan kings conducting assemblies and creating works. So he wanted to do something on his own territory. So this king supposedly commissioned a work with 5 poets. So 5 poets are contemporary. They shared the work among them. So 5 Tinais are there. Kurinji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal, Palai. So each composed 100 songs in the particular Tinai. So Aingur Noor is composed. Like that is also Paditrupatru. Paditrupatru is 10 poets singing about 10 Chera kings, only about Chera kings. So each poet sings 10 songs about one Chera king. So these Chera kings are some of them are brothers, some of them are fathers and sons. So once again, they are from different generations, but the different poets maybe court poets. So they are patronized by those kings. They sung 10 songs on them, and these kings have given very magnanimous gift for them. So lot of villages, lot of gold like that they are given to them. So Paditripatru is collection of 10 songs like that there is there, right? So Kalitogai is again sung by 5 poets. So it's a very varied collection. A lot of information is there, and especially Purananuru is 400 songs from almost across at least 4 centuries, sung by 150 plus poets, capturing so much of the historical incidents in Tamil Nadu in those particular centuries. So that is a treasure trove of information, historical information for us, and they're all supported by archaeological evidence also. So this is not simple imagination of the poets. That is there, right? So Ettuthogai, especially Purananuru, is a very important book among them. So again, a sample, I'll give you 2 samples, one Agam, one Puram song from this Ettuthogai. So I'm chosen small songs here. So Kurundogai, a very nice Agam text. 400 Agapurul songs are there in Kurundogai. Kurumai means small. So Kurundogai means small collection, means collection of small songs. So these songs are some 4 to 6, 9 lines length, right? So this is a very famous poem from Kurundogai. I think almost all Tamil people will know this song. So the song goes like this: Yayum Nyayum Yara Hero, Endayum Nundayum Yemure Kelir, யானும் நீயும் எவ்வழி அரிதும் செம்புல பெயல் நீர் போல அன்புடை நெஞ்சம் தாம் கலந்தனவே. So a man meets a woman, they fall in love, but the woman doubts that the man may leave her, and he is assuring that I will not leave you. So he says our love is very strong, but he says there is no previous connection between us. See, யாயும் ஞாயும் யாராகியரோ, who is your mother? Yai, my mother. Nyai, your mother. So who is your mother? Who is my mother? They don't know each other. Who's my father? Who's your father? They don't know each other. There is no connection. There is no friendship. We are not neighbors. There is no connection. I just met you. So it means we are meant to be together. Love at first sight. Yanum niyum evvadi aridum. We don't have any friendship. We are not classmates. We are not neighbors, right? So we didn't go to the same function or something like that. Just like that, in the forest we are meeting, and I'm falling in love. You aren't falling in love with me. So this is a previous birth connection, something like that. This is decided by God Himself, something like that. That is the implication here. So that's a strong love, he says, and he gives a simile for that love. How is that love? That love is like Sembula pale neer. Sembulam is red soil, the land with the red soil. Neer is pale neer, Malai, right? Rain. So when there is a red soil land, and when rain falls on it, the very first rain falls on it, the water immediately mixes with the land. So the water becomes red, the soil becomes watery. So they both mingle with each other without any separation. Inseparable, they mix in the very first rain. Like that, our hearts mingled. He says, such a beautiful simile, Sembula Payal Neer. So water, rain, first rain falling on a red soil. So we don't know the poet name. Whoever prepared this anthology 2000 years back, whoever put together all these songs, 400 songs, in some palm leaf, he found this song, but he don't know who is the author. So you have to give some name for the author. So what he does, he takes this Sembula Payal Neer. He takes this simile itself and gives us a name for the author. So because he is so impressed by this wording, so this author is now called Sembula Payal Neerar. We don't know the actual name of the author. So we take these beautiful words from his poem and calls him by that name. Just a reference, right? There are so many poets whose name we don't know from Sangam literature, or even literature some 500, 600 years back also we don't know, because poets, people of that time, they don't put their names in the front. Their work speaks for them. Such a beautiful song, right? So we don't know. My mother and father don't know each other. Your mother and father don't know my mother and father. We don't know each other, but in the very first sight, our hearts mingled like we have been together for so many generations, so many births, like a rain falling on a red soil and mingling immediately with it. Without inseparable, it becomes. So he says, only some 5 lines, very simple lines, but such a beautiful and deep meaning here. That's Kurundogai song 40 of Kurundogai, and the author is called Sembula Payal Neerar, from that wording of the song itself. Another song, this is the famous poet Avvayar, very famous Tamil poet. There are so many Avvayars in Tamil. At least 6 Avvayars were there in various time periods. So one Avvayar, the foremost of those Avvayars, is from Sangam period. So she is patronized by one king called Adiyaman. Another king, Tondaiman, is enemy of this king. These are all people ruling these regions of Kanjipuram, present day Karur, Salem, those regions. Right? Adiyaman is from this Karur region. Tondaiman is from Kanjipuram region. So they are enemies. They are enemies and they are frequently fighting wars. But among them, Adiyaman is a very powerful king and he is also patronizing. He's a very good person. He's a very valorous person. So he's patronizing Avvayar. Comparing to Adiyaman, Tondaiman is slightly less in valor or generosity like that. And Avvayar wants to stop the war. So Tondaiman and Adiyaman are preparing for war among each other. They are going to battle. So this battle will going to, always battles, wars. They will only lead, the only thing they will lead to is destruction, loss of property, loss of lives, destruction of families. So Avvayar as a poet, she feels the responsibility to avoid the war. So she is trying to avoid the war. So what she does, she goes as a messenger to this Tondaiman. As a messenger of Adiyaman, she goes and meets Tondaiman. So she sings a couple of songs and her wording, she plays with the psychology of the people. By that, she was able to avoid the war, avoid the battle between Adiyaman and Tondaiman. This is one such song. So here she is praising Adiyaman, Adiyaman's valor, Adiyaman's prowess, right? So it's both his physical prowess and its war strategy. So she is praising him in a way. She uses words such a way that people they are not coming to the war. So that is the song here. So she says this to the enemies of Adiyaman, who are Tondaiman and his people. So she says, Kalam pugal ombumin tevvir, போர் எதிர்ந்து எம்முழும் உளன் ஒரு பொருணன் வைகள் என் தேர் செய்யும் தச்சன் திங்கள் வலித்த கால் அன்னோனே. So she says, Tevvir, enemies. She's addressing them. Oh, enemies. Do not come to the battlefield. Kalam pugal ombumin. Kalam, battlefield. Do not come to that battlefield because you want to do battle. But we have you think you have warriors among you. Of course, but we also have a warrior among us. Emmulum ulan oru porunan. Porunan is warrior, right? A soldier. We also have a soldier, a warrior among us. How is he? See, consider there is a carpenter who is capable of building 8 chariots. In olden days, people construct these chariots, which are drawn by horses. We call Ther in Tamil, Radham in Sanskrit, Ratham, Ther in Tamil. So they are made with wood and metal, combination of them, right? Basically, majority wood. So whoever makes the chariot will be a carpenter, Tachan. So imagine there is a Tachan who's very skillful, right? He is capable of producing 8 chariots in a day. So in a day's work, right, from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. he works. He is capable of producing 8 chariots. Such is the capacity of that carpenter. Such is the skill of that carpenter. Skill, expertise, everything, right? Maybe he's running like a factory, imagine. So he's capable of creating 8 chariots in one day's work. But if that carpenter puts all his efforts for one complete month and works, creates only one wheel. See, he's capable of creating 8 chariots in a day. That means he is capable of creating 3 into 8, 24, 240 chariots in a month. But a wheel is about 1/10 of a chariot. So that's about 2,400 is to 1. So if we putting all that work into creating one wheel, how strong that wheel will be, right? Kal is wheel of the chariot. Tingal is 1 month. So if there is a carpenter who's capable of producing 8 chariots a day, but he's putting all his efforts, skills, expertise into creating just one wheel in a month, how strong that wheel will be. Our warrior is like that. So Avvayar, what she means indirectly is that one soldier we have is approximately equal to 2,400 soldiers of yours. So it's exaggeration. Of course, poetic license, exaggeration is there, but such a strong word. She says one warrior from our side is capable of equating so many warriors from your side. They are all experts in war. Their entire lifetime is spent in war. See, another song, this Adiyaman is praised in another song where the poet says, see, the kings will have drums, battle drums, murasu. So this Adiyaman's battle drum is fixed on a wall. There is no battle, so the drum is fixed on the wall. But there is a wind hitting the drum, so the drum makes a small sound. So that Adiyaman is happy that there's a war coming. Some wind is beating the drum. There is no actual war, but he becomes very enthusiastic. Okay, a war is coming. Let's go to the war. So such is their nature. So you are trying to oppose them in battle. You don't have any chance of winning them. So drop your battle ideas. That is what Avvayar means in this song. 4 lines, simple lines, but a strong message conveyed to the enemy. And of course, Avvayar was successful in avoiding that war. So that is the song from Purananuru, Kalam Pugal Ombumin Tevvir by Avvayar, very famous woman poet. She is a woman poet, very celebrated woman poet in Tamil. So that is another sample. So I give you one Agam sample about love and another about war. Puram. So you get an idea about Agam Puram of Tamil literature and Ettu Togai. Then Pattu Pattu. This is also Sangam literature. 10. So these are all, one book is one song. See, in Ettu Togai, say Agananuru, there are 400 songs. That is one book. But in Pattu Pattu, one song is one book. That's a long song, idylls we call, right? There's such a long lyrical poetry, long songs composed by one poet. So there are 10 such songs. Thirumurugaatrupadai, Porunaraatrupadai, Siruvaanaatrupadai, Perumbaanaatrupadai, Mullai Pattu, Madurai Kanji, Nidunalvadai, Kurinji Pattu, Tinapalai, Malai Padugadam. So there are 10 such songs here. Now, point is, 5 of these 10 songs are belonging to the Atrupadai genre. Atrupadai is, some artist like a musician, dancer. So they should be patronized by kings, nobles like that. So they are constantly looking for such patrons. So what happens? One, say, a musician and his troupe, they are coming from one patron, a very nice patron. He respects your talent. His hospitality is flawless. Hospitality is very important, right? So if you are hosting someone, you should give respect to them. So it's not that you are putting alms to them. So hospitality is very important for Tamil people. So they are coming from such a patron, and they are seeing another musician of their own kind. And now they are standing in the middle of the road. They don't know where to go. So this person is guiding that another person to go to this patron. So you go to this king. He will help you. He's a nice king. He knows your talent. He will respect you, respect your talent, skill, and he will give prizes accordingly. So he can take his hospitality. That is called Atrupadai, guiding. So you go there. That king is very nice. His place is like this. So you can go there and like that. So this Atrupadai text will talk about that king. So this is a literary tool to prize a particular patron. You can talk about the hospitality, the generosity of that patron, the valor of that patron, the genealogy, his country, city, capital city. So the wealth of those cities, the beauty of those cities, and you can say the route for that city, all the other cities you will encounter, the nature of the people, the lives of the people. All these things can be captured in those songs. So that is the tool. So that is the framework of Atrupadai. So there are 5 Atrupadai. And Tirumurugaatrupadai is guiding someone to God Murugan himself, not a king. So it's he been guided to Murugan himself. Porunar Atrupadai guides the Porunar to Karigal Cholan. Sirbanatrupadai guides Panar, musician, to a king called Nalliyakodan, like that. So there are Atrupadai notes. And there is Mullai Pattu, which is an Agam text. Mullai is about a married life. So husband goes out, wife has to wait in the home. So husband will say, I will come back before the rainy season begins. So he will come back. If he's not coming back, wife has to wait patiently. That is called Mullai Thinai. Madurai Kanji is a didactic work. The poet Mangudi Mardanar is the court poet of Pandian Nedunjadiyan, the king Nedunjadiyan. So he is giving advice, life advice to this king. So, you should concentrate on things that will help you for the afterlife, that will help you to be getting a place in the history as a great person, as a great king. So you should concentrate on those things. So Mangudi Mardanar gives an advice. This is a long advice. People give free advice. This is the freest advice of all, mother of all free advices, which is the longest song in Pattu Pattu. 782 lines, and see. So one song which goes for 782 lines. If you sit and read that song alone, it will take 1.5 hours for you to read. And the shortest song in Pattu Pattu is 103 lines. Mullai Pattu is 103 lines. You can read it in 10 minutes, but 103 lines Mullai Pattu. So such is the idylls. Pattu Pattu, 10 long songs. And Nedunalvadai is another Agam song, but many people classify this as Puram, because there is a tradition that in Agam song that is talking about love. So it's an internal thing. So it is common for many people. So you should not name a person. So you say hero, heroine. You should not name them, because see, I love at first sight. That is common for many people. So it's not a particular people's thing. So there is no need to name someone. Agam song is personal, so you should not name them. But what happens in Nedunalvadai, the poet mentions the neem flower is the identification flower for Pandian kings. So Nakira is the poet. So obviously, when he mentions neem, it implies that he is talking about Pandian king. The contemporary Pandian king for Nakira is Pandian Nedunjadiyan. So we get that he is talking about Pandian Nedunjadiyan. So he mentions Pandian Nedunjadiyan indirectly. So he says neem. By that, it's implied that the name is coming. So poets strictly, they don't want the names to be mentioned. So they will classify this as a Puram text, but it's basically Agam, right? Except for this mention, it is completely Agam text. So that's why I put the star there, asterisk. The conditions apply, right? So, but commentators like Nachinar Kiriyar, they call this as Puram, not Agam. Kurinji Patu is a long song by Kabilar where he mentions 99 flowers and all, right? So there are Malai Padakadam and Patina Palai is there. So let us give some sample, right? So these are all long songs. I cannot give you the entire song here. So I'll give you some best lines from here. So this is Mullai Patu, the shortest song I said, right? No, 103 lines. The starting of that song. So how the song starts, right? So the Mullai Tinai, the time period for that, the season for that is rainy season. So the husband goes out and he says, I'll come back before the rainy season. So the poet starts the song by saying rainy season comes. So he describes the rainy season, how the first rain comes, he describes. So he describes the clouds. So clouds are absorbing water from ocean, and then they become black, and then they grow in size, and then they rise up. They come and pour the rain. He's comparing this with the Thirumal, God Vishnu. Vishnu comes as Vamana Avatara. In Vamana Avatara, Vishnu comes as a small boy and he begs 3 feet of land from Mahabali. Mahabali gives a donation, and as a mark of donation, he has to pour water in the hands. It's called Tare Vartal. You have to put water on hands. So, like clouds getting water from the oceans, this Vamana Avataram is getting water from Mahabali. So, as Mahabali pours water into the hand of Vishnu, as he is pouring the water, Vishnu is growing in size. Yeah, we all know the story of Vamana Avatara. So, Vishnu comes as a small boy, begs for 3 feet of land. Mahabali grants that, but while he is granting that, Vishnu becomes Trivikrama, right? So he is Ulagalanda Perumal. So he is encompassing all of the cosmos. With his 1 feet, he is measuring all the lands. He is surveying all the lands. With his another feet, he surveys all the sky. So he asked, where should I put my 3rd feet? So Mahabali shows his head. He puts his feet on Mahabali's head and pushes him to the underground, making him the Indra, king of the underground. That is a Puranic story. But the poet uses this imagery as a very nice simile for clouds. See, there are a lot of levels this simile works. So clouds, Thirumal, Vishnu. So Vishnu is a simile for clouds. Vishnu is dark, clouds are dark. As Mahabali pours water to Vishnu, Vamana, he becomes Trivikrama, becomes large. As clouds are absorbing water from ocean, they become dark and large. As Vishnu has his chakram, which is very shiny. Clouds has lightning. As Vishnu has his conch, Panchajanyam, which is making a thunderous roar. Clouds has thunder, thunderous roar, right? So Vishnu is becoming large, is growing. This rain clouds are glowing. Vishnu has Lakshmi in his chest. It's called as Srivatsam. As a mark is there. That is a mark of wealth. So cloud gives you wealth. Cloud gives wealth for the land. So there are so many ways in this simile works. Such a beautiful simile. He says, Nanandale ulagam valayi nemiyodu valamburi porita ma tangu tadakkai நீர் செல நிமிர்ந்த மால் போல பாடுமிழ் பனிக்கடல் பருகி வளநேர்வு கோடு கொண்டெழுந்த கொடுஞ்செலவு எழிலி பெரும் பெயல் பொழிந்த சிறுபுன் மாலை. சிறுபுன் மாலை. Malai is evening. This is a dark evening, which is a painful evening because the husband has parted the wife. So painful evening, dark evening, which is also the beginning of the rainy season. So the rains are poured in this very painful dark evening. What kind of rain? Rain poured by the clouds, which rose in the sky by drinking the ocean water, which is like Thirumal, which is like Vishnu, Vamana Avatara. Vishnu who grew very big, encompassing the entire world. Nanandalai Ulagam Valayi, encompassing, covering the entire world. The clouds cover the entire sky, entire world. Like Vishnu, it covers the world and sky. Nemi, Chakram, Sudarshana Chakram. Valamburi, Sangu, conch. Porita Ma Tangu Tadakkai, Ma Lakshmi, Thirumagal, Srivatsam. Tadakkai, big arms. So like Vishnu growing in size, becoming dark. Clouds are going in size, becoming dark and pouring the rain. Saying clouds poured the rain in the evening. But he uses such a simile which works in different levels. See, a simile should be in shape, color, or the functioning. So there are 6 types of similes in Tamil. So depending on how it reflects, what aspects it reflects. But this one is working in many levels. Such a beautiful song, such a beautiful verse. This is starting of the Mullai Paattu, right, by Nappudanar. Another sample, I'm not going to bother you by reading this, but I'm just showing you in Kurinji Paattu by Kabilar. Kabilar enumerates 99 flowers. You see, how many flowers can you name? So if I ask you to name flowers, maybe you can say 10. You say rose, lotus, jasmine, maybe 10. But Kabilar in his song continuously is enumerating 99 flowers. Not only the flower names, he is also giving small descriptions. For example, he says Valludal Vancheng Kandal. So he's not saying Kandal. Kandal is the flower. See the flower here, right? So that's the first one, red color one, Kandal. But he says Val Idar. So they have thick petals. Idar is petal, thick petaled Onseng Kandal. They are such a glowing red colored flowers. So he's giving small descriptions. See, one or two words is giving a very detailed description of the flower. Val Idar Onseng Kandal. Ambal Anicham. Tankaya Kovalai. Very cool Kovalai. Like that he is saying. So 99 flowers he lists. I'm just giving that here. If you are interested, you can read Kurinji Patu. English translations are available. Detailed English translations for Sangam literature is done by one Miss Vaidehi Herbert. So I'll give the link for her blog. You can read if you're interested these songs in her blog. So that is another sample from Sangam literature. And then we come to the post Sangam literature, which is called the Sangam Maruviya Kalam. So we will talk about them. We'll see examples of them in the next video. So see you in the next video. Thank you very much.